And loyal. Sorry.
Oh, this guy? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
Okay, we're going to get started, everybody. Good morning. Hello. Welcome to Step Place. My name is Patricia Bacon. I'm the Executive Director for the John Howard Society of Okanagan and Kootenay and the site operator for Step Place. It is my pleasure to have all of you here today to celebrate this occasion as we get ready to welcome participants to Kelowna's first Perth transitional housing location and the interior's first housing site to use this tiny unit housing model. Before we start our brief program, I would like to respectfully acknowledge that we are gathered today on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Syilx people. I commit to moving with respect, humility, and compassion on these lands, and I will strive to make this site and its program welcoming to all Indigenous people. We are also lucky to be joined by a few distinguished guests today who will provide remarks, including the Minister of Housing, Ravi Kahlon, Mayor Tom Dyas, including the City of Kelowna Council members, Jennifer Breakspear, our Vice President of Operations of BC Housing, over there, members of the Board of Directors for the John Howard Society of Okanagan and Kootenay, as well as Russell Lagasse from tiny unit supplier Pallet, who are the suppliers of these unique little buildings, as well as the staff from BC Housing, City of Kelowna, senior leadership members of the John Howard Society and Greyback Construction, and welcome members of the media today as well. Thank you for being here today. With that, I would like to first invite Minister Kahlon to the podium to say a few words on behalf of the province and BC Housing, and we're glad your plane landed.
Nobody is more glad that the plane landed than me. It's lovely to be here, and again, apologies for being late. I too want to acknowledge the Syilx peoples and their traditional lands, and it is great to be back here again. And I want to recognize, of course, my colleague from the legislature, Ben Stewart, is here. Nice to see you, Ben. And I want to start off with a big thank you to Mayor and Council, because when we had the first conversation about this, Mayor and Council said, you know, we find it unacceptable that we have so many people struggling in our community, struggling to find housing opportunities, and we want to work with the province to get people indoors. Now, that sounds like a thing that most people in Kelowna feel, and that sounds like a thing that most British Columbians feel, but it's a really difficult conversation to get housing done, get housing built, and get it in communities. But their commitment, the staff at Kelowna, their commitment to work with amazing people at BC Housing to make this a reality. Tiny homes are being discussed across North America as a way of getting people indoors, to get them supports. Here they're going to get supports, they're going to get meals, they're going to get life skills training so that people can get the stability in their lives to be able to maybe reconnect with family, maybe reconnect with community in a way that they haven't. And all of that cannot be possible without partnerships. And we have been in partnership with communities around the province, Prince George, Kelowna, Victoria, Nanaimo, some of the communities that have stepped forward to say, we want to get people indoors, we want to get them the supports that they need. And again, this would not have been possible without the leadership of Mayor and Council. I really want to thank you. This is a model. I actually go to communities throughout British Columbia and say, if you want to make this happen, you want to do it in a quick way, look at what Kelowna is doing and the way they're doing it. We still have a lot of work to do. This 60 units and the other units that are coming online are a positive step forward, but there's still a lot of work to do to ensure that people have the housing and the support they need. And so I wanted to be here today to be here for the opening of this, and I'm glad we were able to make it happen. And again, Mayor and Council, a big thank you to you. And also having our CEO of the Interior Health here is also an important recognition that health and housing and our economy, all these things are interconnected. You cannot have a vibrant, healthy community without having all of these elements available for everybody in our community. So it is my pleasure to be here, and I cannot wait to have a look at the units right after this. So thank you so much, and thank you for folks coming here today as well. I think it's a recognition that everybody wants to see this happen, and everyone wants to see supports for the most vulnerable people in our community. So I want to thank all of you for attending as well. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kahlon. And yeah, it is really a great testimony to what a great site this is going to be with the turnout today. And I think we're all really stoked about it. So it's really great that you're here. And we appreciate the support from the province for making Step Place possible. At this time, I'd like to invite Mayor Tom Dyas to say a few remarks from the city.
Oh my God.
Thank you, Patricia. And especially thank you to the minister for being here this morning with us. And good morning to everyone. On behalf of myself and my council colleagues, a number of them who are here with me, Councillor Maxine DeHart, Councillor Laurel Woodridge, and Councillor Luke Stack, we want to thank the minister for your support, commitment, and the investment in Kelowna. I want to take this opportunity to thank the collaboration with the City of Kelowna and the province that took place to address our most pressing community issue and one of our council priorities. I am pleased to be here with a few of my, pleased to basically be here after what was, I think, back in last October, we stood at the foot of City Hall. Together, we had made an announcement that we were going to look at putting forward a proposal to bring tiny homes to this community. And 4 short months later, collectively, look at what we have put together. It's been a good combination of communication between the province, between the city, between BC Housing, in order to bring this to our community. One of the things that we were just speaking about was what has happened in other areas that Pallet has built these homes. And when we look at what happened in Nova Scotia with regards to the snow that just went through there, and that these homes were able to weather that storm, and when we look at what happened just recently in Edmonton with regards to those cold temperatures, and these homes, even though that the temperatures got to where they were able to stay warm inside these units. So we are very excited for this unit to come to our community. We're excited about the next 60 homes, which will open up at Trailhead along Highway 97. And we are looking forward to another set of 60 homes to be opened up within our community. Something along this line, another set of tiny homes. And then how this can be spread out not only throughout the Okanagan Valley for other communities that need these type of services, to help with regards to the encampments and move individuals through encampments into the shelter systems, and the individuals who are within the shelter systems to move into these tiny homes into more of a permanent structure for their future. Just, Minister, so grateful for your collaboration, so grateful for the effort that you put into this, because I knew through the discussions that we have had over the last 4 months, you were very diligent in your assistance to make certain that this moved forward. So again, and also to John Howard Society for what they will look at doing with this property, the coordination of the assistance that they will give the individuals, not only from keeping them feeling like this is an area of home for them, but also the placement services to advance them and move them on to the next phase of their life. Again, very appreciative that this is completed today. Looking forward to the next 60 and many more after that, hopefully, Minister, if we can accommodate that. So thank you, everyone, for being here.
Thank you, Mayor Dyas. Yes, 4 months. Hard to believe, but we should talk about how January felt like the longest month ever. But yeah, it's so great to be here. It's kind of hard to believe in 4 months that we got here. It just really, I think it speaks to the incredible collaboration with the city, with the province, with BC Housing, with the operator, and that we all came to the table really committed and ready to work, and here we are. I'd also like to now introduce Susan Brown, CEO of Interior Health, to the podium, and we're really excited that Interior Health is with us on this project.
Thank you, and good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here and represent healthcare and what this means to this particular initiative. I also am so impressed. We got a tour this morning, and the thought put into the organization of not only the individual units, but where people can have a joint space and cook their own meals and get back to activities of daily life, which they would like to be able to do, I'm sure. There's a tremendous amount of work that's gone into this in a very short period of time. For healthcare, we already serve the best of our ability, the shelters in Kelowna with primary care, wound care, etc. for clients. But what this allows us to do is create a dedicated team that will not only support the shelters, but this initiative right here. And we will be able to deliver primary care, wound care, referrals for people to mental health and substance use resources if they would like them, and any other care needs that they need. So we're excited that things will be in one place for us here, and we will build a team that people will get to know. Those relationships are important. And we're very excited to work with John Howard Society in this. They've done an amazing job, and I think this will be a wonderful collaborative approach going forward, because there will be the need for peer support and different things that I know we'll be working together on. And just amazing initiative. Just congratulations to the city, to Mayor Dyas, and of course, Minister of Housing, and the work that's been done to support this has been incredible. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. I look forward to how we work closely together with Interior Health going forward and helping people make progress along their journey. It's an important partnership. I'd also like to take a few moments to talk about the opportunity and why John Howard Society of Okanagan and Kootenay wanted to be at the table for this exciting project. At John Howard, we value innovation and transformation. Through innovative design such as these short stay units, combined with thoughtful, intentional programming, we believe that Step Place will be a place for healing and progress, a step on the path forward. Step Place is going to be more than a tiny home. It's a program founded upon John Howard's core belief that all people should be given an opportunity to grow, develop skills, experience inclusion and community, and to have a remarkable life. Our hope is that people we meet through this program will have a good experience here, where feelings of inclusion replace fear and uncertainty, where possibility replaces despair, and well-being and intention replaces scarcity. More than anything else, it is my wish that this program helps people to realize an exciting future without the John Howard in it. Yes, without us, because their short stay was intentional, transformative, and profound. I also wanted to just show you behind here. This is a mock-up of the tiny houses, what they're going to look like. So in the spring, when it gets warmer, they're going to be vinyl wrapped, because right now, as you can see, it's a sea of white. And we want to bring a little flair to the community. And so we're going to have the units vinyl wrapped. And this is a sort of an idea of what they'll look like. But imagine, if you will, where the blue paneling is, there'll be different units with different colors. And where the little yellow flower boxes are, will be different flowers with different colors. So in a way, maybe 4 or 5 different designs that will kind of break up the space and create a sense of sort of community. And we think it's adorable. And so that's one of the things that we're really excited about, as well as the larger community spaces will have a similar wrap as well to sort of bring it all, tie it all together. And imagine on this large storage area, there'll be a mural as well. So we're gonna, and in the spring, we're looking for more beautification ideas for the site as well. Meantime, we focused on the interior spaces. At this time, I'd like to take a period of time for questions from the media. If you have questions, if you could step forward, state your name and the outlet you represent, and indicate who your question is for, that would be much appreciated. First question.
Too late.
If there's no questions, that's okay too.
Hi, how are you? Tom Pollock, CBC. I know there are tiny homes in Prince George, Moccasin Flats, that was created by a NGO up there. The gentleman went to Vancouver to pitch the idea of tiny homes in Vancouver to deal with some of the crises there. As a minister, would you be in favor of having a tiny homes program in Vancouver?
Well, of course, we're in favor of having tiny homes. We're standing in front of some here. We've got some in Victoria. We've got in Campbell River as well. We've got tiny homes. Not only are we looking at having tiny homes throughout British Columbia, we're also looking at doing some research around how they help people with the inclusion, with people having a sense of belonging, as well as their path to getting stability in their lives, and how that impact happens in each of the sites compared to other type of housing. Now, the Prince George site, unfortunately, they had some tiny homes brought in, but we had a fire. Two of the tiny homes had a fire. Luckily, nobody was injured. So it's important that whenever we build infrastructure like this, that it's done in a coordinated way and it's done to a level of building code that ensures safety for the community. And we are working with Prince George. We've purchased 140 homes for individuals right now that are just going through construction. And we've identified another site for an additional 40 homes because we know the need is desperately needed in that community.
Hi, my name is Jacqueline Gelano. I'm with Kelowna Capital News. This is a question for Mayor Tom Dyas.
Good.
Tell us really how you feel.
So in speaking to many of the people that live at Tent City, which is across the street here, they're unwilling, I guess, or not excited about the idea of moving into a shelter. So right now I know our shelter spaces are full, but even if they weren't, I've talked to many people and they say that they're not excited about that just because of their own behavioral problems, issues with people in positions of authority. With that in mind, do you think that this tiny homes project will still limit the amount of people living on the streets here in Kelowna experiencing unsheltered homelessness?
And the minister or myself could have kind of gone through this question, because the idea behind the Heart and Hearth funding, which is provincial funding, which allowed for this to actually happen, was that it would work towards fewer numbers within encampments. But the process of establishing fewer number within encampments is that the individuals who would come to Step Place would come from existing shelters. So that would then open up space within the existing shelters. So individuals who are currently in encampments, those individuals could then move into the shelters, and the process would complete in that they'd go into the shelters. From the shelters, they would move into something like Step Place. From Step Place, they would assist them here, and then they would move into more permanent form of housing. I believe we're always going to have a certain section of the population which is uncomfortable moving into shelters, or some are not even potentially allowed to go into shelters because of concern with regards to maybe hurting shelter staff, or not invited into those places. The effort here is to be to create a path forward and to aggressively go through that path. I think where all this will be known in the future is the metrics on how successful that all of this is happening, and that will be the next stage of this, to basically making sure that we're keeping track of what the metrics are and what our success is of that process.
I'll jump in on that as well. If I can just make a comment on that as well. Just recently we had a report from the National Housing Advocate, and I agree with one premise of the report, is that we want to get people stable housing. That is our goal in British Columbia. That's what all of this is about. But we believe in British Columbia that encampments are not safe for the individuals living in them, and they're not safe for the community at large. It's important, vitally important for us, to have people come into shelters so we can do an assessment to see what the right fit is. In some cases, people just need some rent supplements because they just fell on hard times. In some cases, they need this type of supportive housing. And in some cases, it's more complex than that. And that's why not only this type of housing, supportive housing, but also complex care beds, which we're rolling out, are vitally important, because some people have been away from others and have been living rough for some time, and it's really difficult for them to get back into that environment. So we are working around the clock to try to find the right place of housing, but it is important that people get into shelters first so we can do the assessment so that projects like this are a success for not only people living here, but also the community at large.
Calvin Hector from AM 1150 News. I have a question for Patricia.
Perfect.
Well, so John
Go
Howard,
ahead.
oh, sorry. John Howard Society, of course, overseeing these tiny homes and it being implemented as a stepping stone to help anyone staying in these tiny homes move on to more self-supported systems. Is there a general staple of the John Howard Society how long they want people to be in these homes? Or I know it's going to be case by case depending on the person.
Yeah, that's a great question. So our goal is that stays are brief. Now, as brief as possible. But when we say as brief as possible, that is on a case-by-case basis, because what brevity looks like for you or for me might be very different than for somebody else. And depending on what's the work that is happening for the person and what level of stability or stabilization is being sought, or maybe while they're here, one of the assessments might be that they need to access a different program, and what if there's a waiting list for that other program? So we're not going to have the person exited from this program because they're waiting for the right housing or the right program, etc. So as brief as possible is our goal, because the idea is that it's a stepping place, but brevity can be highly variable for people and their needs. So no, we're not putting we're not putting a time clock on that for people, because that can just be a source of stress for people as well. If you move into a short stay unit and it's like giddy up, you know. So we don't want to do that to people. Yeah. We have time for maybe 1-2 more questions.
This one will be for Patricia again. Corbin Vaskin from Kelowna now. When do people start moving into the homes?
In 2 weeks. And 2 weeks, we're moving in our first guests. Yeah.
And is there anything left to be completed in the homes?
Yeah, there's still a few items. We'll be giving you a tour as well. There's still some finishing pieces in the community shared spaces. There's still some window coverings for the short stay units. There's still a few items that need to get done. Some tech is still getting loaded on. We got electricity yesterday, so that's so it's coming along. So within 2 weeks, we'll be moving our first guests, and we'll have everybody oriented to the site. Yeah, thank you. That was good.
That's a good one. That's an important point.
Hi, Georgina Whitehouse with Info News. There are more homeless people and at least more people in shelters right now than there are currently tiny homes available. I'm just wondering what the criteria is for people being chosen to stay in the tiny homes and people who have not chosen.
Yeah, so through British Columbia, we try to work with, in this case, it'll be the Kelowna staff, it'll be our not-for-profit partners, health folks from the health department. There's a table that we've created which looks at individuals case by case to identify who is the good fit for the supportive housing, and trying to have a right mix of individuals with their needs at each location. And so the community access table is where that conversation happens. It's partners coming together to identify who's a good fit for moving into this type of housing. In the end, our goal is to ensure that people are ready to come into this housing, but